I'm sure by now everyone's already seen the footage coming out of New York over the riot that happened there. But for those who haven't, I got some stuff pulled up right now. So I just love this meme right there. That's hilarious. But anyway, yeah, here's the actual footage from it. So you can see it was a big gathering there, and it got out of hand to say the least, and people just went a little bit crazy with it. So, oh, come on. Anyway, yeah, so there was basically a riot that went on there, and I got this article from Deadline talking about it. New York melee leader Cenat to be charged with inciting a riot by a New York police department. So Cenat, a popular YouTube and Twitch streamer who instigated an out-of-control gathering Friday near Union Square Park in Manhattan, will be charged with inciting a riot. Cenat will be charged with incitement of riot and unlawful assembly, police said at a press conference. He could face up to 3 years in prison if convicted. Thousands gathered at Union Square after Cenat promised a huge giveaway of PlayStation 5s and other electronics. Okay, so just to put this out there, I'm not really familiar with his content. In fact, I've never even heard of him before this happened, but I do follow a lot of other creators who will occasionally host meetups and other things like that. So I'm just wondering, if you host a meetup like this and people get out of hand, are you responsible for what your followers actually do? Now, the way he went about it, I think, is really stupid, and he shouldn't have done it. I mean, you shouldn't have a gathering impromptu like this and basically say like, I'm going to be giving stuff away if people meet me here at this specific time and stuff like that. I mean, to me, that's almost like if there was a crowd of people and you just threw like a bunch of money at it. I mean, maybe that's kind of where they're getting at the whole incitement thing about the way it went about it. Cause I mean, I think you can be charged with incitement of a riot in that situation, but this is a little different because it's not quite the same thing. It's not intended to create a frenzy, but I mean, maybe one can argue that it is. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer or anything, so I'm just trying to understand this myself. I mean, if anyone else actually understands this law, let me know in the comment section, but I tried to look it up myself to see what it actually says about it, and this is the New York law for incitement of riot. A person is guilty of incitement to riot when he urges 10 or more persons to engage in tumultuous and violent conduct of a kind likely to create a public alarm. Inciting to riot is a Class A misdemeanor. All right, so I went over what is a Class A misdemeanor in New York. Class A misdemeanors are generally punishable by up to $1,000 or fine or prison time up to 1 year in jail. The penalties for inciting a riot include being charged with the Class A misdemeanor. Incitement to riot involves urging 10 or more people to engage in tumultuous. Okay, so yeah, I already went over that. And I think the reason they said 3 years in the article and 1 year here is because they're also probably going to tack on unlawful assembly. And there's also sentencing enhancements depending on the situation and severity of it, especially if it turns violent and things like that. But the interesting part about this, I think, is the various defenses that you can have for such a charge if you're actually been charged with it. Since the prosecution has the burden of proof on all elements, keep that in mind, all elements of the crimes charged, think of the best defense as negating any one of those elements. For the crime of rioting, the defendant can prove fewer participants were actually involved in it and required by statute. No, there was more than 10 people. No one suffered personal injury. They did. No serious property damage resulted. There was. But this is the key part right here, I think. Defendant lacked an intentional or reckless mindset. And that's where I think you get a defense for such a charge. Because, I mean, it could just be chalked up to free speech. Like, hey, I just put it out on social media that I wanted to meet. I was going to be here at this place at this time, giving stuff away to my followers. I mean, does that really meet the mindset that you thought that it could start a riot? I mean, like I said, if you were just to give out money, like saying like, I'm just going to throw money over a crowd. And I mean, you could argue that's like, well, no, you should know that that's going to create a frenzy and that's going to basically devolve into a riot or whatever, depending on the circumstances. So maybe you could argue it's a similar situation with this. I'm not sure how it is. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so I don't know how this actually works. I just find the whole situation interesting because it almost feels like a free speech case in a way, because if you just say like, hey, I wanted to give stuff away, I didn't think it was going to devolve into a riot like that. And we even saw like some footage of him at the whole gathering. I think let me see if I find it again on Twitter, because I did see it earlier about him actually urging people to calm down during the situation. Oh yeah, this is it right here.
Yo! I want to get it away! Thank you. So in order for us to do that, we gotta chill.
Okay, so he says he wants to give stuff away and tells people to chill and stuff like that. I mean, to me, that's not someone who's trying to incite a riot. But like I said, I mean, maybe this is the whole thing. Like he should have, or a reasonable person would have assumed that what he did, saying I'm going to give stuff away at this location at this time, they would assume that that means like you can infer that something bad's going to happen or it's going to devolve really quickly. I mean, either way, like I said, if you're going to do a gathering or whatever, I mean, like you should probably have security, have a proper venue and stuff like that. I mean, this was an ill-advised thing. And I think in a way they're trying to just send a message like, just don't do this kind of crap again in the future. I mean, they're more or less making an example of him. And even if he's not convicted ultimately, I mean, going through the whole legal process or whatever is almost a punishment right there. So maybe that's the goal of this, but I don't know about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.